So I finally played Nights into Dreams for the very first time, and man, I gotta say, this is a super cool, unique looking game. Like, there's a lot going on in this game. It's super cool, fun looking, very vibrant. The art is amazing, the music's really good. There's a lot going on here. It's a really cool looking game. But there's also a lot that I want to talk about. Now hear me out, hear me out. I'm not here to hate on Nights into Dreams. I'm not here to throw any slander on it. That's not the goal. That's not what I'm trying to do here. What I'm trying to do is I want to tell you my initial reactions and personal experience from the game from an outsider's view, from someone who's never played any of the games in the franchise and who really has no experience with Nights into Dreams up until now, other than like cameos in other Sega games, right? Like I've seen the character before and like I know who the character is, but playing the game, a completely different experience. It's really interesting, really cool, and we're gonna get right into it. And we're going to talk about my personal experience playing Nights into Dreams for the very first time. So what really is Nights into Dreams? Well, Nights into Dreams was a game released on the Sega Saturn back in 1996, and this game has a lot of research and development put into it from Sonic Team. They did a lot of research into dreams and REM sleep, and when I found that out, I was like, oh, this game makes a lot more sense now. But imagine my reaction, my initial reaction playing the game, and going through and just thinking, what is this? Like, what are all these things? Like, it just, the whole scene and things just did not make any sense to me at all. But when I found out it's about dreams, I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense now, because most of the time, you know, dreams don't make any sense. They're just nonsense. So when I found that out, it was just 10 times easier just to go through and play the game. I'm like, oh, that's perfectly fine. I don't have to think about it and just question like what all this stuff is, because it makes sense now. It's just about dreams, right? Like, you would think it'd be obvious, but it wasn't. It just was not obvious to me that it was literally about dreams. So that's like the core of it. Just when you go into the game, just don't worry about it. It's just, you just gotta know that this game is about dreams. Okay, so we're over that now. So how is the gameplay of Nights into Dreams? So it's actually quite interesting. So Nights into Dreams is like an on-rail score attack game, basically. So when you move, you're really only moving left and right on the 4 main stages, or like 4 main courses of the game. So each stage has like 4 different sections that you fly on in the on-rail. So each like section is predetermined. So you see other paths, but you're not going to be able to take those paths usually. You're going to have to wait till the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th checkpoint of that stage. But to get through these checkpoints, you're going to have to grab these orbs, right? And you need 20 orbs to defeat this monster that is basically blocking you from getting to the next checkpoint. But you have to get these within a time limit. So you have 120 seconds to get 20 orbs, defeat the monster, and then get to the checkpoint so you can progress to the next mare. So these checkpoints are called mares, and there's 4 mares throughout each stage. And then when you beat those, you get to do a boss. And the boss is different because you're able to freely move. So there's no on-rail with the bosses usually. It's all free movement, and you're gonna have to figure out how to defeat the boss. The problem is, usually it's not very obvious. The first boss is pretty obvious, but like a lot of the other ones, it's not very obvious on what you're supposed to do. And that's actually really frustrating. It's really frustrating that not knowing what to do. But what's even worse is when you do not figure it out within the 120 seconds, that's not a lot of time to figure that out. They'll give you a hint when you die, and then you have to do that last stage all over again. So you have to go through those 4 checkpoints and then get to the boss and try again. That is, oh, I do not like that at all. I really do not like that. And you know, some people are gonna say that's a you problem, and that's completely fine. I'm just telling you my personal experience. I do not like that at all. That is super annoying. Like, oh, like why? Why couldn't you give me a continue, my guy? Why? Please give me a continue. That's one thing I do not like about the game. But other than that, like, what else is there really to say about Dreams? I mean, it has really good music, and it's super colorful. Like, everything's so unique about the game. Like, it's just really, really cool. But at the end of the day, you're flying on a set path, collecting orbs, going through checkpoints, and having to face a boss that you probably won't even be able to beat the very first time. Not because you can't, but because you don't know what you're doing. And I'm just gonna be honest when I say that I didn't really enjoy that. But you know, just because I personally didn't enjoy the game doesn't mean it's a bad game by any means. I see why people like it. It's super unique, super fun and interesting. It's a really cool idea. I personally just didn't enjoy it my first time playing it. Maybe if I go back and play it more, I'll enjoy it a little more. I kind of doubt it. The things that I didn't like about it, I don't think I'm ever gonna enjoy about the game. But that's not to say it's a bad game at all. And you know, I did a lot of reading online about the game because a lot of people praise the game and say it's just a classic and it's one of the best games ever made. Personally, myself, man, I'm gonna give you some hot takes here. I really don't understand why it's a cult classic. It really doesn't seem like it would be such a praised game. I see what people are talking about, but I personally just have a hard time understanding why it's such a classic. And reading all of the comments about the game online, I came up with a conclusion, and this is just my hot take on the conclusion of the matter. What I can infer is, if you played the game and like it, you really like it. But if you played the game and don't like it, you really don't like it. There's really no other explanation than that. When you read people who don't like the game talk about it online, you have so many other people saying, it's a great game, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know good games. And it's like, alright, I see how it is. So that's my personal hot take. If you liked it, you really like it, and if you didn't like it, then you really don't like it, and that's just not going to change. That doesn't mean it's a good game or a bad game. I mean, just because I didn't like it doesn't mean it's a bad game, and just because you like it doesn't mean it's a good game either. Nights into Dreams is a really cool, unique, fun-looking game. It's really nice looking, the art style is cool, the music's amazing. It wasn't the game for me, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just what I think. But that was my personal experience with Nights into Dreams. Hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for watching.